Another night of intense fighting has unfolded as the United States and Iran exchanged fresh military strikes across the Gulf. For the sixth consecutive night, U.S. forces launched another wave of attacks against targets inside Iran. Iranian media reported that American strikes targeted an airport near the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. Abbas' statement read, and I quote, "3 explosions were heard around the airport and at least 1 American enemy projectile hit Iranshahr airport," unquote. Fresh explosions were also reported around Bandar Abbas as the latest U.S. strikes hit key military locations. Reports suggest strategic transport links were also targeted, further intensifying tensions around the Strait of Hormuz. According to U.S. Central Command, the latest operation was aimed at further degrading Iran's military capabilities. U.S. Central Command statement read, and I quote, "At 2 p.m. Eastern Time today, U.S. forces began conducting a new wave of strikes against Iran for the 6th consecutive night to further degrade Iranian military capabilities," unquote. Missiles, drones and airstrikes continue to transform the Gulf into one of the world's most volatile conflict zones. As Washington intensifies its campaign, Tehran has responded with another wave of drone attacks. Explosions have been reported in Doha as warning sirens echoed across parts of the Qatari capital, triggering fresh security concerns amid escalating regional tensions. Qatari authorities issued emergency alerts to mobile phones, urging residents to stay alert and follow official safety instructions as the situation continued to unfold. Iran says American military facilities in Bahrain remain within the range of its expanding retaliatory operations. Iran's Revolutionary Guard claims it carried out another drone strike targeting U.S. air assets stationed in Bahrain. The Strait of Hormuz has once again emerged as the central battleground in the escalating confrontation. With both sides continuing to exchange strikes, there are still no visible signs of de-escalation in the conflict. Reports of loud explosions in downtown Dubai suddenly pulled the UAE into the U.S. Iran showdown, hinting at possible pressure on American allies. Witness accounts of blasts in the UAE during U.S.-Iran fire exchanges fed fears that the conflict shockwaves are reaching regional financial hubs. However, Dubai media office swiftly denied reports of any explosions in Dubai City on July 16. Meanwhile, Iran's top negotiator Abbas said that Iran has no choice but to rely on its strength, signaling a hardened, siege mentality in Tehran's negotiating posture. He also alleged that the U.S. seeks to hit Iran and advance its interests whenever it can. U.S. missiles also struck areas near the Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas. Early reports said there were no injuries or damage to infrastructure, suggesting calibrated signaling strikes rather than a full-blown attempt to cripple Iran's Gulf hub. Even as Iran warned Donald Trump to expect surprises if he kept striking, did Trump just respond by dropping new bombs near Qeshm, essentially daring Tehran to make good on every threat it has made? Is Trump brushing off Tehran's most dramatic warnings yet, as new U.S. bombs reportedly fall near Qeshm Island in a message that Washington has no intention of pausing its military campaign? Iranian media reports on July 16 claim U.S. projectiles slammed into areas around Qeshm Island in the Gulf, adding a strategically sensitive new location to a growing list of Iranian territory already struck by American forces. Iran state broadcaster IRGC is reporting that a projectile struck a village on Qeshm Island itself, raising the alarming possibility that populated civilian areas are now being caught in the crossfire of this escalating war. These latest U.S. strikes came directly after Iran's army spokesman warned Trump to expect the unveiling of new military surprises, suggesting Washington chose escalation over caution in the face of Tehran's most pointed threat yet. On July 16, Iran's army explicitly warned Donald Trump to expect new surprises if U.S. attacks continued, framing the threat as a promise rather than a bluff from a military still capable of escalating. The army spokesman warned that any further hostile actions would trigger the unveiling of new Iranian capabilities, suggesting Tehran has been holding back weapons or tactics it has not yet chosen to use. The warning came directly after Trump threatened to strike Iran's power plants and bridges, a threat that would mark a dramatic expansion of the conflict's targets and its potential civilian impact. Amir Akremenius said, and I quote, "If the U.S. president insists on his adventurism and hostile actions, he should expect the unveiling of the Islamic Republic of Iran Army surprises." Unquote. Iran has accused the United States of a barbaric strike near Shahid Baghai Cancer Hospital, a charge that is drawing international attention and putting Washington's targeting decisions under sharp scrutiny. Iran's foreign ministry claimed that 211 chemotherapy patients had to be evacuated from a hospital following overnight U.S. strikes, describing a chaotic scene of sick and vulnerable people fleeing in the dark. According to Al Jazeera, Iran said children, patients on oxygen tanks and patients in wheelchairs were all forced to flee the hospital, painting a devastating picture of the human cost of strikes so close to a medical facility.
4 explosions in a row occurred, so much so that the blast wave spread throughout, and the patients, even those downstairs, were truly affected by a very heavy wave. The special patients are all in a very abnormal condition, meaning there isn't a stable situation for the patients here. Unfortunately, it has been bombed so much that their breathing requires oxygen, and the machines we had, even they were shaken by the blast wave. It was so close that we thought perhaps the entire hospital was hit. Really, the entire staff, patients, and companions just rushed out. The patients were in different conditions. In the pediatric ward, the baby was in the mother's arms, the equipment still attached. One was taken in a wheelchair, the other was taken out with help. Everyone was evacuated.
Iran said the latest round of U.S. strikes killed at least 35 people and left more than 300 others injured, figures that, if verified, would represent some of the heaviest civilian casualties of the entire conflict. Iranian officials also claimed that 7 soldiers were killed after an army barracks was struck directly, adding a military casualty toll to what Tehran is framing as an indiscriminate attack on its people. Explosions were reported across a wide arc of southern Iran, including Qeshm, Bandar Abbas, Shabahar and Karamabad, suggesting the latest U.S. operation hit targets spread across multiple strategic zones simultaneously. U.S. Central Command said its forces targeted Iranian military sites that had been directly threatening commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, framing the operation as a defensive action to protect global trade routes. Washington also confirmed that an empty oil tanker was disabled during the operation after it attempted to break the naval blockade, signaling that the U.S. is now enforcing maritime control with direct force.